Evening peeps, good evening everyone. Should I say good morning by the time this video goes up? Let's have a quick look and see what there is to talk about from the world of boxing today. Before we do that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the videos. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's start with this one. Floyd Mayweather returns, faces dangerous Don Moore on the 14th of May in Dubai. He's just not going to stop, is he? He really isn't. Look, in a way, I don't blame him. If they're going to pay him silly money to have these exhibition fights, then he's just going to keep on doing it. I think I read that he's going to get paid $4 to $5 million. Now, I can tell you now, 99.9% of boxers fighting today won't get that in their next fight. Crazy. It did get me thinking, though, when I saw this story about how much I miss Floyd, not this Floyd Mayweather, but like peak Floyd Mayweather. I miss him a lot. I just miss a Floyd Mayweather fight month. I was going to say fight week, but no, a fight month. So the 24/7s, the first press conference, the press conference nearer the fight, the weigh-in, everything. I missed the whole lot. Like, I can't tell you the last time I've actually watched like a 24/7 or behind the scenes or all access in full. I probably haven't watched one since Floyd retired. Like, I actually find them quite boring now. But when Floyd was fighting, I used to watch them all, every single one. In fact, I used to wait desperately for the next episode. Yeah, I don't have that feeling towards any boxer anymore. It's strange. I was thinking about this the other day because of this big schedule we've got coming up. And I know some of you are like, what? Not even AJ? Not really. Like, I wouldn't watch an all-access AJ doc, I don't think. But Floyd just made them so interesting. Like, how exciting were they? Like those 24/7 things. Like now, don't know. Just don't find them interesting in the least. And maybe it's because these boxers nowadays don't necessarily show you what Floyd did. All the stuff. Like, Floyd was very open, like in his house, you know, the cars, the jewelry. Like, Floyd was literally just giving you genuinely what the show was about. 24/7, all access. That's what it felt like. We don't really get that with fighters nowadays. So yeah, it just sort of came to me how much I miss those big Floyd fights. Like, it seems to be a chore now for me to stay up to 5 or 6 in the morning to watch those big American cards, or at least the big American main event. Back then, and not just Floyd, Manny, Miguel Cotto. Like, back then, it was just almost a treat to stay up and watch one of those fights. Now, it just doesn't have the same pull, does it? Maybe that's just me. Let's talk about fighters that are fighting now. Ryan Garcia will fight Emmanuel Tagoe on the weekend. Before we talk about it, let me show you these. So DAZN have linked up with Gymshark. Gymshark sent me out a goodie bag which had some tracksuits in, some t-shirts. So thank you so much, Gymshark. They also sent me these Ryan Garcia gloves, 10 ounce, very decent gloves. I have no use for these just because I've got so many gloves when I want to hit the bags in the gym. So I don't need these. So I want to give these away to someone that might want them. You could be a Ryan Garcia fan or just want a pair of gloves. In order to get them, 2 things. You must be following me on Instagram. I will check. And the second way to get it is underneath this video. You need to leave a comment on how you think the fight will play out. So your prediction for the fight. So if you think Ryan Garcia is going to get a knockout in the 6th round, put that there. The first person to get the right answer will win the gloves. If you're in London, I can either post them out to you or you can come and get them. You can actually come to my studio in London to pick them up if you want. But yeah, not bad. 10 ounce Ryan Garcia gloves for anyone that wants them. Back to Ryan Garcia. I remember about a year ago, I think on a live or maybe a video I did. So it might have been in the aftermath of Ryan Garcia beating Luke Campbell. When was that? January 21 or February 21? So he's been out the ring quite a while. I think someone asked me who's going to be the next pay-per-view star. So not pound for pounder, but pay-per-view star. I think I said Ryan Garcia immediately. Like, I didn't even think. I said, oh, Ryan, obviously. That was because back then I felt like Oscar was still at the top of his game. Like, there was a time when I thought Oscar was the best best promoter in boxing. He's so not that anymore, but I think he was still at the top of his game then. Obviously, there was a link with Canelo. Mexican American heritage, good looking kid. I don't know what, 4 or 5 million Instagram followers. It just almost seemed inevitable that he was going to be a pay-per-view star. Now though, I feel like his stock has dropped massively. Like, I was watching his public workout when Emmanuel Tagoe got in the ring, and they're doing a little nose to nose, which looked very staged, but whatever. And I was looking at the people ringside, and it was very empty. And I was thinking, like, I thought that they could somehow convert that social media following to genuine fans of Ryan. Like, whether it be Ryan converting them, Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy converting them, DAZN converting them. It's not happened. It's just not happened. And it shows that and look, credit to him, he's got so many followers, but I'm guessing 90% of those followers are little girls that like the photos of Ryan Garcia with his top off. That's it. They're not boxing fans, and they never will be boxing fans. And not only has he slipped in that standpoint in terms of converting the followers to genuine boxing fans that are going to buy tickets, buy pay-per-view events, whatever, I think he's slipped in terms of where people think of him in terms of the boxing ability. Like if you were to ask people, like, okay, do you think Ryan's going to become a world champion? Again, a year and a bit ago after the Luke Campbell performance, I think people would have said yes. I think we were excited about the so-called four kings all mixing up with each other. Now that dream seems to be, for now anyway, for Ryan anyway, a distant dream. He needs to look very good against Emmanuel Tagoe, put on a performance, and remind us all why, especially us as boxing fans, remind us why we all got excited about Ryan Garcia. Because again, like, a lot's happened, and he should get the job done against Emmanuel Tagoe, but I don't think it's going to be easy. There's going to be a bit of ring rust. He's now switched trainer who might be trying different things. I thought the link up with Reynoso was a good one. So I'm very intrigued to see what kind of Ryan Garcia we see in the ring on Saturday. Now look, they've chosen Emmanuel Tagoe because they feel like Emmanuel Tagoe will be good for a few rounds, but Ryan will get the win. They've chosen him for a reason. They haven't chosen him because they think he's going to cause Ryan a big upset and potentially beat him. No, he's been chosen to look good for a couple of rounds and then Ryan get the victory. So Ryan should get the job done sort of mid to late, but nothing would surprise me in this fight. Emmanuel Tagoe hasn't lost since his very first fight. And yes, he's not fought the greatest opposition, but he's going to be very, very confident. Very, very confident. Look, Ryan Garcia is a brilliant fighter. I really do think he's so good, but I don't know where his head's at right now. Obviously, he's been out of the ring, not just because of injuries, but let's be honest, because he's opened up about his own mental health and things. So let's see where he is. Let's see if he can get us excited so we can talk about Ryan Garcia versus potentially the winner of Gervonta Davis, Rolando Romero. Ryan Garcia versus potentially the winner of Devin Haney and George Kambosos. Ryan Garcia versus potentially the winner of Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson, who I think will go up in weight after their next fight. So let's just see if Ryan Garcia can put himself in a position where we're talking about Ryan Garcia, the boxer, as opposed to Ryan Garcia, the influencer. Let's just see. I hope that they can, because again, I'm excited about Ryan Garcia. I just feel like his stock has dropped a lot in the last 6 or 7 months, a lot. And to see the public workout, I don't know what kind of fan base he's got in San Antonio, but that public workout looked empty. And that surprised me because, again, you think of Ryan Garcia, you think he's got a good fan base. Gervonta Davis, Rolando Romero, we'll get it on again in May. I say on again because the fight was supposed to take place back end of last year. Rolando Romero obviously had those issues outside the ring. I guess he's sorted those now. And now they're getting it on again. I like it. I like the fight. I like the heat. And there is heat between these two as well. It's going to be an interesting one, this. Gervonta didn't look great against Isaac Cruz, but I think Isaac Cruz is a lot tougher than people maybe take him for. Rolando Romero, very confident. Very confident. Very, very confident. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Galao fight added to the Taylor Serrano card in New York City. It's another good name added to the card. It's funny because obviously Frank Warren announced the undercard for Fury Whyte and that didn't go down too well. and Eddie's really thickened the Bivol Canelo card, and now obviously Taylor Serrano card as well. So 2 very good main events, but he's also made sure that the undercards are stacked. And so far, they're looking very, very stacked. Michaela Mayer believes that Clarissa Shields' speed and output will be too much for Marshall. I tend to agree with that. You know, look, we know she's not going to overpower her. Marshall's massive. She's a big girl, Marshall. I think 5'11", 6 foot. She's really big, strong, 12 fights, 10 knockouts. So, it's not going to be a slugging match. I think it's going to be a boxing match. And if it's a boxing match, then I'm going to go with the person that's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, a 2-time amateur world champion, 2-weight undisputed, and so far unbeaten. I'm going with that girl, and that girl's Clarissa Shields. What's this bit here? GGG on Murata's losses. Boxers can't be judged by a single fight. Everyone has bad days. Very, very true. Very true indeed. GGG was asked by a reporter about what Canelo said. Canelo and his team have come out and said, obviously, if GGG wins and looks good, then it's going to be GGG versus Canelo, providing obviously that Canelo gets past Bivol. And because Canelo said something like, it's personal. And that was put to GGG, and GGG was like, if it's personal, why has it taken 4 years for him to want the trilogy? Which would make me believe that GGG has wanted that trilogy, or has at least been behind the scenes chasing that trilogy with Canelo ever since the result of the second fight, which was back in 2018, obviously. So, look, it's a shame it's happening now. I don't think anyone would have been upset if they ran it back immediately after the second fight. But obviously, Canelo's gone his way, GGG's gone his way. Canelo's looked formidable going down his own route. GGG's not looked so good going down his own route. So, if it were to happen, then you've clearly got to favour Canelo. But you never know. The last thing to go is a boxer is their punch, they say. But my worry is that peak GGG hit that fucker with everything and he still didn't budge. Still didn't budge. Canelo did not move, and GGG breaks people. Interesting. What else have we got here? A bit on, this fight is a sleeper and no one's talking about it. And I think no one's talking about it because there's so much boxing going on right now. Erickson Lubin versus Sebastian Fundora. Fundora unbeaten. Lubin lost in 2017 to Jamel Charlo. I think he's had 7 wins since then, a few knockouts, a few going to points, but he's rebuilt himself. Only 26 is Erickson Lubin, so maybe that Jamel Charlo fight came a bit too early for him. This is a 50-50 scrap. 50-50, and I can't wait for it. I'm a big fan of Lubin. I think he's really good, but Fundora's got power, gritty, will grind you down, can box as well. That fight's on the weekend. Sleeper, great fight. Could be a fight of the year. Could be that good. Leo Santa Cruz versus Lee Wood. The WBA has formally ordered for this one to happen. About bloody time. Leo Santa Cruz hasn't fought at featherweight for nearly 3 years. Can he make the weight? He fought on the Keith Thurman undercard at super feather, so maybe he can, but he is 33, 34 now, Leo Santa Cruz. For Lee Wood, this is what he wants. He wants that fight in America. I've spoken to Lee Wood so many times since that Michael Conlan victory. Even prior to that, he wants an American fight. He wants that dream of going to America, and look, you can't begrudge him that. So this could be it. If Leo Santa Cruz is going to accept this and not vacate the title, then this fight will happen in America. Leo Santa Cruz isn't coming to the City Ground, although it's the fight there. It's the one fight that I think could do the City Ground. Like, Navarreti's not doing the City Ground, nor is Mark Magsayo. I think fight fans know and respect Leo Santa Cruz to the point when it could happen over here. But I think it's more likely that Lee Wood goes to America. But look, let's hope that it does happen, because I'm still and ahhing as to whether Leo Santa Cruz is going to accept making feather at 33. Ain't going to be easy. This one's interesting. We've obviously just spoken about Ryan Garcia, and Eddie Hearn has floated the idea about Ryan Garcia versus Maxi Hughes in the summer in the UK. I like that. I think Maxi Hughes deserves, I just want him to get an opportunity. You'd favour Ryan Garcia, of course you would, but Maxi Hughes has got a world title. That might, look, it's not a world title that Ryan Garcia will recognise, but it is a world title, and that might just tempt him. Because especially if Ryan Garcia doesn't look great against Emmanuel Tagoe, they might think, okay, let's have one more before we then go for one of the real big boys in the division. And for Maxi Hughes, this is a dream fight. Honestly, it's just a dream fight. So I hope he gets the opportunity. Probably won't, but I hope he will. This is interesting. Josh Taylor done an interview with BBC Scotland, and he said, was asked about the Jack Catterall rematch. People were still asking about this fight, which I love. Keep asking. And he said, look, he can't do an immediate rematch, even if he wanted to, because of all the other mandatories, which I found interesting, because I thought he was going to say, I can't do the immediate rematch because I'm going to 147. But now he's saying he might stay at 140. Surprises me, that does. With regards to all the other mandatories, he's right, but I think there is a world in which, because of how controversial that ending was, the other organizations might allow for a rematch to happen. I think. Could be wrong, but that's what I think. A bit here on George Kambosos. Haney's a good boxer, but he ain't elite. We'll find out the hard way. I think that as well. I think Haney's a very good boxer. I wouldn't put Haney in the elite category. We've got to do a bit more work for me to get into that. You know what I did see, which isn't great. We'll end on this actually. Frank Warren said that he's actually got a reserve ready for the Fury fight. Now, I think most people actually have reserves ready. They don't normally announce it because you don't want that to happen, but that's not good, is it? It's not good. We are now 2 weeks away from that fight happening, or 2 weeks and a day away from that fight happening. The last thing we as fight fans want to hear, especially those fight fans that have bought their tickets, 94,000, want to hear is, oh, a reserve. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. And not only that, but what reserve would you accept to the point where you still want to go to Wembley? Like, it's going to have to be a high level reserve to accept Tyson Fury fighting and you using that same ticket. Most people would ask for their money back. Sticking with that, obviously I did say on the video the other day that there's a good chance that I do a live watch along rather than go to the fight. I've decided I am going to do a live watch along. We're going to do it. We're going to do a live watch along. We're not going to go to the fight. It's a tough decision and one I'm probably going to regret. But I do want to do a live watch along. I do want to try and do the Joe Rogan-esque. So not just me by myself, but a guest, a cameraman, making sure that it gets all angles. I think it'll be fun. Maybe 2 guests. I don't know who yet, because I think most people will be doing their live watch-alongs as well, or even go into the fight. So we'll see who we can get, but that's the plan anyway. Guys, don't forget the competition to win the Ryan Garcia gloves. Remember, you do need to be following me on my Instagram channel, Ade Oladipo. And, pardon me, the question is, again, it's not even a question, how do you think the fight will play out? Prediction, round, knockouts, etc., etc. The first correct answer will win these gloves. Peace and love.